Hello, this is Jamie Magridge. Welcome to Jamie's Craft Table. Today I'd like to show you how I made this card. I am going to put a different sentiment on it because this one is from a retired stamp set. Let's get started. I'm going to be using Painted Poppies. I'm going to be using this stamp here. And for the card I'm going to do today, I'm going to use this sentiment from Grace's Garden. Of all the blossoms in life's garden, friendship is the most fragrant. I'm going to be using the Country Floral embossing folder. And okay, for the paper, I have 2 pieces of the gold foil paper. It's about 1/2 inch by 2 3/4. It's just scraps, and that's so I could cut it out using this die here. And that is from the dies that goes with the Painted Poppies. Okay, I have a piece of white, which is 4 by 5 1/4. I have a piece of thick white, which is 2 by 4 1/4. A piece of Designer Series paper, which is 2 1/4 by 5 1/8. And then for my card base, I'm using the gold foil edge card and matching envelope. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is move some of this stuff out of the way. I'm also going to be using the Delightful Tag Topper punch. Alright, so let's start by embossing this this piece here. Put that in my embossing folder. Now this is one of the older ones, so it's doesn't use the blue plate. It uses the actual just one of the regular plates, and no, just the platform, the embossing folder with the paper, and 1 plate. And I'll crank that through. And this is what we end up with. Now if it was a paper that had a right side and a wrong side, you would want the right side to go face up onto this side with the Stampin' Up emblem on it. Okay. Since I have the big shot here, let's bring in the other pieces and we will do the die cutting for the gold pieces. So let's add this piece back on there. My cutting plate. 2 little gold pieces here. Okay, I only have 1 die, so I'll have to run it through twice. Now if I had a bigger piece that I didn't want marred up, I would have to put a piece of copy paper over the top of it, so my plates wouldn't mar it up too badly. But I cut just using little scraps, so. Okay, I'm going to crank this through. There is 1. Okay, let me do the other one real fast. Probably should have done these before I started the video. There's pieces in there still. It might not cut out, but we'll try. Oops. There we go. Perfect. Okay, I got that. Let's move this right out of the way. So we're done with it. Okay. So I got those 2 die cut pieces. Awesome. Okay. Alright, now let's bring in this piece here. I'm going to bring in my sentiment first. The only ink I'm going to use is the Memento. Make sure it's right side up. Ink it up well. I'm going to stamp it towards this side, down towards the bottom. I haven't stamped this one yet, so I'm going to bring in a scratch paper just to make sure it's going to ink well. Not bad, okay. Stamp it down here to the bottom. I want it to be over a little bit to this side so I have room for my flower. Perfect. Okay, now I'm going to bring in that poppy. One was the photopolymer and this one's the nice rubber one. Okay, and I'm going to actually turn it so I get a better hold on my stamp. Figure out where I want it. Set it down. Perfect. Okay. I'm going to color this in with a couple of blends. I have the light old olive and the Poppy Parade pair. So I'm going to take the dark Poppy Parade. I'm going to just do some dark Poppy Parade here at the bottom. And I'm going to come in with the light Poppy Parade. Color in the rest of this. I am going to leave a little bit of white space because it's kind of a sketchy drawing. And then I'm going to take the old olive and color in the leaf and the stems. Okay. Now I'm going to bring in the Delightful Tag Topper. I'm going to push this in all the way in so the top of it's in there, and I'm going to punch. Then I'm going to bring in that piece of Designer Series paper, and again this is 2 1/4 by 5 1/8. The reason it's the 1/8 inch is because you'll notice it cuts off that 1/8 of an inch off the top. And this is a little bit wider, so it's a little bit trickier to get in. Just put it in there, make sure it's centered as best you can. There's going to be a little bit that you're going to need to trim off. See off the side here. Didn't have it quite centered, but it'll work. So I'll bring in a pair of snips. And I'm just going to do a little bit of a rounded edge there. And this edge here I'm just going to round off just a little bit so it's not so harsh. Okay. Then I'm going to bring these 2 in. And I've got some of the new ribbon that's from the mini catalog. It is crinkled seam binding. It's 1/4 inch. I'm just going to take 6 inches, 6.5 inches. Let's see if these scissors won't cut it. Okay, I'm going to fold it in half. Oh, fumble fingers tonight. And from the back, I'm going to go through with that folded edge. So I have a loop here. Both of these ends are going to go up from the back into the loop. Okay, and I want to pull this top one down just a little bit. Okay, now I forgot to put the gold pieces on this. I'll do that next. We're going to put one on this top edge here and one here. So I'm going to bring in my Tombow glue. Which one's full? And I'm going to run a really fine line of glue. That's probably more than I need. Right there at that top. Turn this over. I'm going to line this up with the top of that where that bump starts, like that. And I'm going to do the same thing down here with the other one we cut. And on this one I'm going to start at the bottom instead of... Okay, awesome. There we go. We're going to bring in our card base. Bring in a bone folder here. And I'm going to bring in this piece that we embossed. And I'm going to center that on the front of this card. And I'm going to use the Tombow glue for that. I want to make sure I have a lot of glue on it. There's going to be an 1/8 of an inch border all the way around it. Okay. Now on the back of this one, the white one, we're going to put dimensionals. I'm using 6. Could probably put a couple in the center too. Alright, so now I'm going to take this one, and on the back of it I'm going to put some wet glue. You don't want too much because you don't want it oozing out. This one's going to get put on at an angle like that. Okay, then we're going to take the backs off of this one, off the dimensionals. And this one we want so that the wording is straight. So pull it down a little bit from the top. Make sure the wording's straight. I'm going to tear it down. Tighten up the bow. Okay, now we're going to make a little bow with our white ribbon. Come on over there, a little fuzz, dog hair. Alright, we're just going to make a little bow. I'm going to bring in a glue dot. And I'm going to roll the glue dot so that it's like a long tube. Put that on the back of my bow. And then put this bow down here on this bottom corner. Okay, now I've got some of the gold pearls. Take your pick tool. I'm going to put a few of those on. I'm going to put a couple up here. Put one down here. I'm going to put a couple over here. Bring that gold around. Make sure they're stuck down good. There we go. And there's our card for today. Now if you want to dress up the envelope, you can bring in that poppy stamp. And right on the front of the card of the envelope, you can stamp that poppy stamp. You could color it in if you want, or you could leave it black and white. There you go. There's the card we just made together. Here's the one I did previous. Well, thank you for joining me at Jamie's Craft Table. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you can find some time to play with some stamps, inks, and paper.